Good morning, everybody. I'm thrilled you're here. I'm Rita Hickman. I'm a body mind expert and shiatsu massage therapist. And every morning, Monday through Friday, I do live stream on healing from narcissism, on how women can take back their strength and their power and their voice, and they can learn how to stand up for themselves or walk out if that's what they need to do. They have lots of options available to them. So every morning, we do a little 15-minute video and kind of points you in a healthier, higher vibrational sort of mindset. One of the things that people get confused. So, being a body worker primarily that works in Asian medicine, one of the things that gets tossed around a lot is the idea of a higher vibration. And if somebody who comes strictly from metaphysical or strictly from spiritual, they have a hard time really explaining what that looks like in the practical world, what it looks like in your day-to-day, everyday life, what higher vibration looks like in your relationships, whether it's at home or at work or with your children. So higher vibration is simply the idea that you think on a higher level. You think on a level of kindness and compassion, but reality and true seeing. Lots of people get into trouble with narcissistic relationships because they're extremely empathic, compassionate, beautiful, wonderful, lovely, usually women. And what happens is they're kind of primed. These women were, me included, you end up sort of primed or shaped into victimhood. And so it's almost inevitable, sadly, until you work on living from a higher vibration, until you work on that, you're going to keep having relationships or having people in your life that are users, that abuse people, that are self centered and self absorbed, and that are hijacked by their own thoughts. And the worst of these, we end up starting to call narcissists. Now, narcissism can come from borderline personality disorder, it can come from an underdeveloped amygdala, it can come from PTSD, it can come from bipolar. What it is it's a number of different physical symptoms as well as traumas or things that might have happened that have shaped someone's worldview. It shapes how they interact with the world. Some of this is changeable, like the PTSD, we can rewire the system, and others of it aren't changeable. I mean, how do you make the amygdala be more developed? The amygdala is the part of you that goes into fight or flight. And when someone has an underdeveloped amygdala, that means that they trigger fast. It means that they don't have as much emotional stability. They're more emotionally volatile. So we'll see this in a lot of borderline personality sort of things. So here's the deal. How do you love a narcissist? Well, you start with a higher mind of thinking, which means that you're okay, I'm okay, which means that I have compassion for you, I have compassion for me, meaning that I'm going to love you enough that I don't allow you to continue to behave badly. I'm not going to allow you to destroy your life. A lot of times when someone has high narcissistic traits, if you look at their life for a brief period of time, they were superstars, let's say high school football, or college stars, or, maybe made a killing in the stock market or whatever it may be. For whatever period, they had this ability to be charming and the ability to convince people that everybody was okay. But, what happens is after time, and they start getting older, they've chased everybody away, understandably. They don't have many relationships, and their whole life sort of spirals down. So somebody that at one point in time you cared about your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, an acquaintance, a friend, coworker, maybe somebody that you cared about, their life will just keep getting worse and worse and worse. Now, in some belief systems, we say, well, you're on your own. You know what? It's up to you. Oh, well, I'm out of here. Have a great day. Have a great life. Or other people, like empaths, tend to say, oh no, oh, that's terrible. How can I help? Oh my God. Oh yes, no, I'm willing to put up with this. I'm willing to be there for you. In actuality, both are necessary. If we're going to look at Asian medicine, we look at yin and yang. We look at the masculine and the feminine. We look at the harder and the softer. In order to be whole, if you want to love anybody at all, you have to love yourself first. And within yourself are those positive and negative. The same positive and negative that you see in a narcissist are the same ones that are in you. Just in them, it tends to be hyper dialed up, for whatever reason, circumstances in their control and circumstances beyond their control. But either way, it's the same sorts of behaviors that we all contribute or participate in, just on a high level, on a very high level. And they don't have that pause button, that says, maybe not a good idea. Maybe not the direction I want to go. There's thoughts and ideas that come strictly from protection and fear and ready for a fight and shame and brokenness and, old memories and old emotions. So if you happen to be in a relationship with someone who is a narcissist that you do love, for me, it was my father. It was important to me to develop that relationship because it was my father, and so the best way to love a narcissist is to look at them clearly, to look at them with clear vision and say, aha, this is who you are, this is what you're going through. No judgmentalism, you're not a bad person, you're not evil, there's nothing. And then you get to decide how close you want to get or how far you want to get in order to love them. Because some people's problems, they need to find much more help than you can ever give them. But you can love them from halfway around the world. You can love them from no contact. You can love them energetically. You can love them from a strong place. And then as you decide to get closer, someone described it yesterday, don't narcissists deserve compassion? Absolutely. And it's best to have compassion for them in a hazmat suit with a very long cattle prod. Give yourself some space. And then as you develop yourself, as you learn to set boundaries and stand up for yourself, you start to gain some self-esteem around the fact that there are ways that you can speak your truth and be respected. That, in fact, when you do speak your truth, you're respected more in many ways. That growth and healing take time, and not everybody, it's not good for us to write people off so quickly anymore. It's not good for us to just toss away people that we don't like, people that disagree with us. The norm these days is not with who are you and how can I help you be a valuable part of the community. And instead, we look at people as in, you don't reach the mark, so I'm going to throw you away. Well, guess what? One of these days, that could be you. Just think about how atrocious conditions can be sometimes for the youngest and the oldest of us. We throw them away. And this is true of mental health too. We throw them away. Doesn't mean you get to get beat up, but it does mean that you start looking at the situation from a very clear vision. And then you decide whether it's for you, whether this situation is a situation you want to be in or not. And if it is, or if you don't, you still need to develop the same skills. Because otherwise you're going to walk into situation after situation, because the world is filled with very, very selfish people right now. You're going to keep walking into these situations and wondering, why is this person abusing me? Why is this person so volatile? Why is this person so cruel? Why are they doing this? It's because how they're wired. And you can either give yourself plenty of distance and space and avoid the situation, which many women choose to do once they're done with a narcissist relationship. They're like, no, never, ever going to even get close to that again. And that's smart. But do it with love. Do it with compassion. Other people, they're in a relationship and it's not really a good idea to leave, or there's so many benefits, whether it could be security or financial, or that this person's really a good person who wants to live a better life, or maybe you're watching them change or evolve or develop. Maybe they're your family and you really don't want to lose them at the end of the day. You really don't want to completely cut them off. So there's lots of reasons that we do stay in relationships with people, and none of them are bad. Don't let anybody tell you that you're a bad person for choosing to care. But caring needs to evolve to a higher vibration. See, we come back around to the higher vibration thing. It has to evolve to a place of maturity, to a place of compassion for yourself and the other person. It has to be thoughts which are based on what's in the good, what's in the best interest, what's in the good for everybody. For everybody. Because let's look at the philosophy that everyone is a unique expression of all there is and that they're necessary to the whole. They themselves are necessary to the whole. And if for whatever reason they're disordered, if for whatever reason that they struggle or have difficulties, it's not for us to abandon them and ostracize them and say, you know what, you're a loser, get out of my life. As a community, as a family of some sort, it's up to us to come together and say, hey, you know what, you're really struggling. What can we do to help you out? With my dad, this is exactly what happened. People rallied around him. I rallied around him. Family rallied around him and said, you know what, you deal with depression and anxiety. And we didn't tell him this directly. But you know what? We want you to know that you're a valuable member of this family. And when we started to do that, when he was able to, got old enough and mellow enough, we could start making that move. I've seen it happen with so many other families too. Let's say a child is struggling and they, are oppositional defiant and narcissistic personality and, all these things. You know what? When you work with them, when you help them learn how to set boundaries, when you take the judgmentalism away from them, when you take all of that anger and viciousness, when you respond in a healthy way from a higher vibration, from a higher level of thinking. A higher level of thinking means that you see the big picture, not just your picture, not just the immediate picture, but the big picture and how everybody fits into this role of the big picture. That's a higher vibration when you choose purposely, consciously to rise above your ego, to rise above that I'm going to punch you in the face and I'm going to get vindictive and I'm going to, scream and all of your fight or flight that you're naturally probably in. When you're able to start to get a handle on it and raise above that, things start to unfold. As I said, I see it over and over and over and over in my own life and everybody else's life. When we treat someone who is struggling as someone who is struggling, but with a mixture of tough love and soft love, with a mixture of compassion for yourself and compassion for them, and as a community effort, not as you in secret trying to help somebody or fix somebody, because you're not going to be enough, but as an understanding that we're all in this together and none of us gets through it alone. When we get to that point, that's when the people in our lives start to thrive. It doesn't mean you don't cut people off, because many times that's what you have to do in order to love them. You have to give yourself some space, you have to give them some space, but you still look at them through that lens of compassion. You don't have to go back to the relationship. And in fact, many times it's good to get angry, because if you get angry, it gives you the energy and the wherewithal to move forward, to move out of a toxic situation and start creating a higher vibrational situation for yourself. Because when you're always being triggered, how do you heal? You can't, because the wound's always being ripped open. So it's loving narcissist isn't about how soft I can be, how wonderful I can be. What it is about you learning to be you at an authentically high level and to put yourself in a higher state of thinking and being. Not giving somebody a pass, not saying, oh, they're, it's just the way they are. Instead, looking at them realistically and saying, you know what, I care about this person. What do they need to help them be a valuable, important member of society? And you don't have to be the one that does that, as I said. If they've decided that you're the one to be victimized, that you're the one they're going to take all of their abuse out on, or trauma out on, you don't have to be the one to do it. Tough love many times is saying, you know what, here's the experience that you probably need, rock bottom, and so there you go. Let's do rock bottom. Many people are able to shift and change when they have something important enough, and they have to decide for themselves that it's important enough. And there have to be enough hits. There have to be enough blows that are done with love, without something that contributes to the viciousness and the anger and the disconnect and the ripping apart. It has to come from a place of, hey, how can we help you recognize that you're a valuable member of society and that you don't have to hide anymore, and that who you are is okay? We all want to hear that. We all want to know that that's true. We all want to have that support. And people who are narcissists, they're dealing with a lot of crap. As I said, it doesn't have to be you though. You don't have to look at, but you don't have to look at them as evil or the enemy. And you don't have to stop loving somebody either. You get to still love them. You still get to focus on the positive things. You don't have to think, oh, how stupid was I that I allowed myself to be treated this way? How could I let myself be betrayed? How could I, because that's the biggest pain. Look, you didn't. This is part of life. People who struggle with mental health, including narcissism and borderline personality disorder, they are all around. But they also have lots of valuable things to contribute to the whole. And when we can learn how to help people bring out the best parts of themselves and manage the little them, that they can start working on a higher vibration and minimize that lower vibration a little more. When we can contribute to that through tough love or fuzzy wuzzy love, people evolve and grow. The key is your intention. That's very important. And taking your judgmentalism away. Judgmentalism about you, judgmentalism about them, and saying, here's the situation. What do we want to do about it? And if you end up with lots and lots of emotions, lots of things going on, get some help for yourself. Get your own community. Get your own support. Because community support, getting secrets out of the closet, being heard, being loved, being validated, learning healthier mindsets, being surrounded by people who think in a higher vibration, that'll raise you up. That'll turn you into the person that you want to be, that you love to be, that you've been waiting to be. That's what it does. It helps you evolve too. If you feel stuck, if you want some help from this, if you want to leave, if you want to stay, if you want to stand up, if you want to find a new job, if you want to find a new spouse, if you want to protect yourself in the middle of a divorce, if you want to walk away without guilt, reach out. There's 3 different ways that I help people. 1, I've got a whole free library of all of these live streams that are searchable. So you get to type in any topic you want and dive in deep, kind of like a YouTube channel on narcissism. Except it's all the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of live streams that I've done. Option number 2 is we have a group that we work with. It's a year-long coaching group. And you know what? When you hear other people's stories, when you're able to tell your own story, when you're able to think about things on a deeper level, when you're able to get yourself into that higher level of thinking and higher vibration, and you get love and support and caring and nourishing and friendships and guidance and advice, and when you get those things, you evolve. It's natural. It's very natural. And then you're able to love even the difficult people, the people who are tough to love, because they're not going away. They're everywhere, all over the place. And we can either hope that we can cut out half of the world, or we can be scared that we're going to be victimized from them and shut ourselves down and shut ourselves in. Neither of which is good. The third way is I do one-on-one coaching. If someone is local, and they come in and we do wonderful, wonderful sessions of coaching and then body work. It's body energy work. It's a wonderful combination, because what happens is it gets the things up that are, on the bottom. We bring it to the surface. You're able to feel it. You're able to release it. And then you get some great work that brings you back into balance. It makes it safe to heal. It makes it safe to love. And I do, if you're from a distance, I do coaching similarly, except we do the coaching first, and then we're going to start doing energy work. I've got myself set up so that I'll be able to do distance healing. So we'll do, the one-on-one coaching from a distance, as well as some energy healing in between, because it's the same thing. What happens is it brings things up to be processed, to be sorted through, to be looked at, to be felt, to be released, and then to come back into balance, come back into a good space. Okay? So I hope you have a great rest of your day. The best way to find me is to reach out to me through my email, rhickman@inspiredmassage.com. And if you do that, give me 24 to 48 hours or so. You can also call me, 815-245-9673, and we will get something set up. Just give me a little bit of time, because I have to think and ponder and feel things through. Okay? So, I hope you have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.